Hi, welcome. This is our first video on the flute. So I'm going to tell you how to open up the case and just get the first notes going. And you should talk about everything else in school with your band teacher if it's me or with someone else. The most important thing, the first thing, is opening up the case the right way. I see kids doing this all the time where they open it upside down and then everything goes everywhere and it falls on the ground and it's really embarrassing. So the latches, most flute cases look like this. The latches go up. So you want to put this in a safe spot. If it's on the ground, probably on the ground in front of you, or on a chair next to you, just somewhere where it's not going to fall all over the ground. Most people should put it on the ground. And you want to flip the things up. Okay, remember that. So if I flip my latches up, I'll see three pieces. We have the biggest piece here, a little bit smaller, and even smaller. And I usually put the two biggest pieces on first, and these should go together easily. So there's two sides to the big one, obviously, not the side with like the little edge on and it looks smaller. You want the side that has this bigger piece, and this just goes in like that, and it should just go in nice and easy. Don't force it, otherwise you will probably break it. And you got the smaller piece. A lot of times people are trying to do this. It only goes one way. It's with the side with the buttons or the keys near it. So you want to put that in like that. And like I said, don't force it. It should just go in nice and easy. You gotta get the keys lined up the right way. So here on the end here, you want this rod to be lined up in the middle of the keys on the big piece. So I just need to move mine over a little bit so it's lined up in the middle. A lot of times kids and adults, they do it like this so that the keys are lined up with the other keys. But when you go to play, my pinky is shorter and then I can't, it's harder for me to hit that one. So you want to just line it up a little bit so the rod is in the middle, so then you can actually use your pinky, okay? And then the head joint, this hole here where you blow into, should be lined up down the same line as all of these keys. So you just look down the end, and mine looks pretty good. You might need to move it just a little bit, but generally if you just are looking at it and you put it together, it should be pretty close. So that's it. So you can practice taking it apart and putting it back together a few times. And we're gonna go over how to make some sounds on just the head joint. So you can pause this video at any time to practice. For the head joint, you hold it on the end here and cover the end. You put your lip, the bottom lip, right kind of where it starts from like your face to where it is a lip, right on the edge, right there. And you kind of want to blow over the top with this really tiny hole. Some of the air will go inside too. So blowing over the top. And you might need to move where you're blowing if you're blowing too far up or too far down. Just change until you can hear a sound. And this takes a lot of practice. So once you're good at that, practice and pause the video if you need to. You can put it back together again. And we're gonna go over the first three notes. So making sure that it's all lined up right, that the rod is lined up with the middle of the keys and the hole where you blow is lined up with the middle of the keys. So the first finger that we want to put on is our thumb, and our thumb goes on the back key here. There's two keys for your thumb. There's the circle one. There's this a square with an angle on it, like a half a trapezoid. Your thumb's gonna go on this half a trapezoid there. And then the other part of your finger that you need to balance is right here. That part of your first finger in your left hand is gonna go underneath it, next to it. So my thumb's back here, and my first finger's right there. So then my finger that's balancing on the flute is going to curve over and get the first and get this key here. I skip this one. I don't put my finger there. I go to the second round key. Then for my middle finger, I skip over again to the next one. And then the third finger, I go right next door. This is your pinky key, but for now you can just like leave it on top. You don't need to push it down because we don't learn that note for a while. So those are the first five keys where your fingers are gonna live. In your right hand, you're gonna skip over these 2 round keys, and you use the last 3 on the end of the main section. So 1, 2, 3, and then your pinky goes on this one. That's the main one. There are other notes with these ones over here, but for a while it's just this pinky. So those are all the keys. And then your thumb should be, your right thumb, this one, should be underneath, somewhere between this finger and your middle finger, your first finger and middle finger, so you can see where mine is. So our first note is only going to need to use 3 of these fingers. It's going to use our pinky on the very end, and then your thumb's there, but it's not touching the key. And then it's going to use your back thumb right there and your first finger, and everything else can just rest on top. And you try to get it in the same spot. You blow over the top, and you can use your tongue and start to go. So you can pause and practice getting that B, and that note is B. So with your first finger, your thumb, and your pinky. For the next note is A. You add your ring finger or your middle finger. Remember to skip over that middle circle key. And that sounds like this. And then the third note is G. If you've done recorder, you probably guessed it, and you put it down right there. Remember to keep your fingers resting on top. So now we know B, A, and G, and you guessed it, we can play hot cross buns now, which sounds like this. Then you stay on G. Okay, now to take it apart. If you don't have a rag in your case or some like a piece of cloth, this is an old t-shirt. I took this t-shirt and I just cut out a little square from it, and it looks like about this size, the size of my palm, kind of. And then inside your case, you should have something that looks like this. You take your t-shirt or your rag or your thin cloth of some sort, and you just, you put it in like that. And you take out all the pieces gently, taking them apart, and you put it in, and this one can't go through, so then you just pull it back out, and you put it back in the case. The pieces only go in the case one way, so you just got to make sure you're not forcing it, and try flipping the pieces around if it doesn't fit. Then we got the end joint, you can just push it all the way through, and then the big piece, push it all the way through. Like that. And for my case, I got to take this off and just put it inside, and then put this back in here. Then you close the lid and you latch it, making sure that you're doing this all on something that's sturdy, not your lap, not your music stand, something that's sturdy so it doesn't fall over. I think that's everything. So practice this stuff and hopefully you'll be all ready to go. Or if you don't have your flute yet, just remember it, and then we'll try it in lessons. So thanks. Bye.